Hey, what's up guys? It's Motorzacity, and in today's video I'm going to tell you about how I got rear-ended on my motorcycle. Alright, so you're probably thinking that if I got rear-ended, either me or my bike is in pretty bad shape. I just want to start off by saying that thankfully this is not one of those stories. Neither me or my bike was hurt during this, and I am super grateful that neither of us was hurt. But, again, anytime something happens, good or bad, I want to come onto my channel, share it with you guys so that hopefully you can learn from it, the mistakes that I make and the mistakes that the people around me make, because I think it's super important to share those experiences so that you guys can, take away from it and learn. So anytime that me and the people that I ride with are riding, we typically ride with comms. We are able to communicate with each other pretty easily, but unfortunately comm systems are on the expensive side. It is not easy for, everyone to be able to have access to rider comms and everything like that because of the price point that they are at. I know a few riders who ride without them. They don't ride with groups super often, so they can't justify the price of dropping a couple $100s on a comm system for their motorcycle helmet. I understand that. I completely get that. Probably a lot of you guys out there don't ride with comms when you're riding with your bike. But me personally, I think it's super important to be able to communicate with the people that you are riding with. In this particular situation where I got rear-ended, unfortunately, we were not using motorcycle comms. The person who was riding behind me did not have motorcycle comms on them. I have mine on my helmet. Unfortunately, they did not. So we were not in communication with each other, and that is more than likely what caused this situation, including a few other factors. We were both on our way back home from a group ride. We had been out for a couple hours riding, enjoying the nice weather and stuff like that. We had just left my place and we were on our way back to another location, and he was following behind me. He was pretty far back behind me. I usually check my mirrors, just to make sure every time I come up to a stop sign, and this stop sign that I was coming up to and had pretty much already braked at, I looked in my rearview mirror and noticed that he was not stopping. So in this situation, there was really nowhere I could go. The road in front of me actually had pretty heavy traffic, and there was a car coming to my left. So if I tried to go forward, I would have been hit by that car, and I couldn't really move over anymore and didn't have much time to do anything other than just grab and squeeze my brake and brace for him to hit me. Obviously, that's pretty terrifying when you just look at your mirror and see someone coming up pretty fast behind you and you can tell they're not going to stop. I just had a few quick seconds to make a decision. I'm glad that I decided to squeeze my brake, because if I didn't, he would have pushed me into oncoming traffic. The rider behind me was from another area, about an hour away, so he was not familiar with the area that we were riding in, and that probably played another contributing factor into why he hit me. He did not know that there was a stop sign there. It was actually blocked by a blind corner that I'm used to, so I pulled a little bit farther up from the stop sign to be able to see over to my left and make sure that there was no cars coming. He assumed that I was just going to go and continued to go. Obviously, that's something that you never want to do. You don't want to assume what the rider in front of you is going to do. You don't want to assume what the rider behind you is going to do. Like I said before, being able to communicate with each other through comms is sort of the best way to be able to stay safe when riding with another person. If you can't afford comms or don't have access to them, hand signals are another great way to be able to communicate to the person behind you, but you definitely want to communicate in some way so that you're able to, accurately let someone know hazards in the road, what you're going to do if you're stopping, if you need to stop, maybe there's emergency or something like that. But being able to communicate is definitely key. Anyways, he comes flying up behind me, couldn't brake in time, and makes the split-second decision to turn his bike wheel into the side of my wheel so that his wheel did not hit my leg or scrape up against the side of my bike or anything like that. He didn't want to risk potentially injuring me in any way. He knew that he would knock my bike over and potentially push it forward a little bit, but he didn't want to slam his bike into me, which honestly, great call on his part, and I really appreciate that. It was, however, a hard enough hit to knock my bike out from under me. Honestly, it hurt a little bit and it sucked to drop my bike, but thankfully there was no damage to my bike and there was no damage to me. It was a great call on his part to turn a little bit into my wheel so that he didn't cause any damage to me or my bike. Afterwards, he was extremely apologetic and I assume a little bit embarrassed, but honestly, it was all good. Things like this happen, and honestly, it could have been way worse. It could have been so much worse, you know. Either one of us could have been seriously hurt, you know. I could have been pushed out into traffic, you know. He could have actually hit me with his bike. There were a million other possibilities that could have happened, and none of those things happened. I'm just thankful that it was an experience that we could both learn from and, you know, do things differently in the future so that things like that don't happen. And, you know, every time something like that happens, that's really what you should take away from it. Even if my bike did get badly damaged, it's not me, it's not him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the most important thing at the end of the day is our bodies and making sure that we're okay. Honestly, my biggest takeaway from this was just communication and how much of a key role it really plays in bikers being able to, you know, navigate hazards and the situations in front of them and behind them. You know, being able to communicate with the people around you is super important and really helps to make us safer and better riders. Also, it made me realize how important it is to know the area that you ride in. I take it for granted a lot of the time because I ride in an area that I'm pretty familiar with, but, you know, some of the people that you ride with may not know your area. And it's important to, you know, talk them through it, let them know about potential hazards and stuff that they may encounter. And then also just, again, with the communication, be communicating with them through the whole ride so that, you know, anything that they may come across, like stop signs that are poorly placed, they can navigate their way through safely. Thank you guys for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed this quick little story, and that you take something away from it and that you're able to learn from my mistake here. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments as well. Have you ever been rear-ended by one of your fellow bikers? Have you ever had a situation like this where, you know, you were riding with someone, maybe you rear-ended them or they rear-ended you, or just, you know, a call out could have potentially saved a bad situation? Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.